I came home after 3 days away and found my gate locked with a key that wasn't mine. My fence cut open like it had never existed, and a giant sign planted at the edge of my lake that read, "Lake for sale. Contact Pinewood HOA." Two strangers were standing on my dock with clipboards measuring my shoreline, while the HOA president pointed at the water like she already owned it. In that moment, standing there with my useless key in my hand, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a theft in progress. I'm Garrett Reynolds, and until that afternoon, I believed I understood how HOAs worked. I'd bought my place in Pinewood Estates 14 months earlier, 4.7 acres of woodland wrapped around a private lake. I'm a software consultant, been coding since my early 20s, and this property cost me almost everything I'd saved over 15 years. After my divorce, that lake wasn't just land. It was quiet. It was control. It was the first place I'd slept through the night in years. The first evening I moved in, I sat on the dock until the sky turned orange, watching the water go still. I remember thinking, finally, nobody can tell me what to do here. That thought didn't age well. I'd been gone for a routine job in Seattle. Fly out Tuesday, finish a server migration, fly home Thursday night. Nothing dramatic. When I pulled into my driveway just after 4, I noticed the gate right away. New lock. Shiny. Silver. Stamped with the HOA's security logo. I tried my key anyway, half hoping I was wrong. It didn't turn. That's when I saw them. 3 people down by the water. 2 men in khaki pants and polo shirts with a real estate logo, and a woman I recognized instantly, Victoria Langford. HOA president. 8 years in charge. Perfect posture, immaculate hair, that calm smile people get when they're used to being obeyed. They were on my dock. My dock. One of the men swept a laser rangefinder across the shoreline while the other scribbled notes. And right at the water's edge, staked into the ground, was that sign. Big, bright, impossible to miss. I pulled my phone out and started recording before I even realized I was doing it. My hands were shaking, but not enough to blur the video. Victoria noticed me and turned surprise flickering across her face before it smoothed into confidence. "Mr. Reynolds," she said, like we were old friends. "I'm Victoria Langford, president of the Pinewood Estates Homeowners Association. I assume you received our emails about the community rezoning initiative." I told her I'd been out of town for 3 days. Her smile widened. "Well, that explains the confusion. This lake has been designated as community property under HOA Resolution 2019-07. We're currently accepting bids from developers." She gestured to the men on my dock like she was presenting a prize. One of them nodded and said, "Beautiful parcel. Developers prepared to offer $2.3 million. $2.3 million. He said it like I wasn't even there. I told her I owned the lake. I told her the deed filed with the county clearly included the entire water surface. I told her an HOA resolution couldn't override recorded property law. I watched her face closely as I said it, and for just a split second, something flashed behind her eyes. She knew. "Deeds can be amended," she said smoothly. "Community needs evolve. The HOA has authority to reclassify underutilized private holdings for the greater good of all residents." That's when the anger hit, hot and sudden. I told her she was trespassing. I told her she'd changed my lock without permission, cut my fence, and advertised property she didn't own. I told her I was calling the sheriff. For the first time, her composure cracked. The realtor stopped smiling. They packed up fast when I dialed. Victoria tried to backpedal, called it a misunderstanding, suggested we discuss it at the next HOA meeting. I didn't hang up. I watched them leave through the cut section of fence while the dispatcher took my report. The deputy arrived 40 minutes later. When I mentioned Victoria's name, he paused mid-sentence, walked the fence with me, took photos, gave me a case number, then he left. A case number isn't justice, it's just paper. That night, standing at my locked gate, I looked up at my house and realized something Victoria hadn't considered. I'd installed security cameras when I moved in. Small ones, almost invisible. They covered the dock and the shoreline. She hadn't looked up once. The next morning I woke up to 43 emails. Victoria had been busy. She'd sent a mass message to all 127 households with a color-coded map. My lake was shaded bright blue, labeled Common Area, Pending Transfer. She talked about community benefit and fair compensation without mentioning my name once. But everyone knew. My phone started buzzing. Some neighbors were sympathetic, most weren't. One message just said, "Stop being selfish and sell." That's when the doubt crept in. Quiet at first, then louder. What if I missed something? What if she found a loophole? What if I fight this and lose everything? I spent the morning on the phone. The county recorder confirmed my deed. No amendments, no liens, no transfers. I checked public records myself. There was no resolution 2019-07. It didn't exist. Victoria had made it up. Digging deeper, I found the real reason. A development proposal. Lakewood Development LLC. A boutique resort on the edge of Pinewood Estates. Conditional approval pending legal access to a natural water source. My lake was the only one within miles. I checked the business registry. Ownership details. And there it was. Victoria Langford, 35% stake. That's when it stopped being abstract. This wasn't HOA overreach. This was a personal investment problem she planned to solve with my property. I wanted to believe that was the end of it, that once I exposed the lie she'd back off. Instead, she escalated. Threatening letters from HOA council. Daily fines. Lien warnings. I barely slept. I stared at my laptop at 2 a.m. rereading emails, wondering if I should just walk away. If peace was worth more than principle. There was a moment sitting alone in my kitchen, coffee gone cold, where I seriously considered selling just to make it stop. I felt tired, small, outnumbered. Then I checked the security footage. Tuesday, 2:14 p.m. Victoria walked onto my property carrying a folder, sat on the bench by my dock, spread papers across her lap, practiced a signature on a blank sheet. Then she signed something. I watched it 3 times. My stomach dropped. That wasn't trespassing, that was forgery. I backed up the footage. Multiple drives. A safe. Then I called a lawyer. William Ashford, 26 years in property law. He watched the video once and leaned back. "This isn't an HOA dispute," he said. "This is felony fraud." That changed everything. What followed was a blur of discoveries. Fake transfer documents. A forged signature from the previous owner who had died years earlier. A daughter who confirmed her father had refused to sell the lake. A handwriting expert who called the forgery overwhelming. And then something worse. Detective Laura Higgins found similar cases. Other homeowners. Elderly, absent, properties quietly taken over. One woman had her backyard rented out while she lived in assisted care. The money went straight into Victoria's personal account. I wasn't the first target, just the first one who fought back. The HOA meeting that followed was unlike anything I'd seen. Packed room, angry neighbors, evidence laid out. Victoria removed as president by a landslide vote. I thought that was the end. 2 hours later, 4 men showed up at my gate wearing fake security uniforms demanding I leave my own property. The police arrested all of them, and that still wasn't the end. I accidentally overheard a phone call in the HOA office. Victoria and her developer partner, talking about sending people at night, damaging my dock, making me desperate. I recorded it, handed it to the police. The final night came quietly, too quietly. Men cut my fence again, walked toward my dock carrying tools. And then she appeared, Victoria, watching, supervising. Police lights exploded out of the darkness. She didn't fight the cuffs. She just kept repeating that it was HOA business, that it was for the community. Nobody believed her anymore. She was arrested on my dock. Months later, she pled guilty. 6 years in prison, banned from property management. Her partner went down with her. The resort died on paper. The county confirmed my deed, my lake, mine. I replaced the lock, engraved my name on it, and sat on my dock again, watching the water go still. Abuse of power only works when people stay silent.